So before we get started tonight, let me go ahead and say, since it's Christmas Eve of Christmas Eve of Christmas Day, Merry Christmas to everyone, and who dat indeed tonight. Going to have a tough one going into Green Bay, playing the Packers. Going to start off because it was just came out a little while ago, the inactive reports for both teams and some interesting stuff for the Saints. They did not make any transactions, which means nobody got activated from the practice squad, which kind of disappointing. I was hoping maybe we could see just a little bit of Clyde Edwards-Helaire tonight. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, or it's not going to happen. Saints inactives, of course, our injured guys: Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara, MVS couldn't go. Nathan Shepard's a late addition, apparently with an eye injury, so 4 of our inactives are hurt. And oddly enough, Christian Boyd is still inactive, even though Shepard isn't going to play tonight. I found that curious. Just kind of looking at it, as far as I can tell, we're going to be rolling in with 3 edge rushers like we normally do with Granderson Young and Foskey, who's basically a special teams player. Cam Jordan does play edge. We also kick him in on the inside. Tano passing out is active as far as I know tonight and going to play. Kind of the same thing. He's more of an inside guy, but does play some edge. And Peyton Turner rolling around doing the same thing because without Shepard and not calling a Boyd, you technically only have 3 defensive interior guys, which is Brzee, Saunders, and Ridgeway. So one of the things I was going to talk about is finding a chance for some of our younger players, our draft picks, a chance to get on the field. There was one because the Shepard thing was kind of came out before the inactives were official, was being reported. And I'm thinking, well, okay, maybe we'll see some Christian Boyd tonight. See what he's got. Let's see what he can do. It's going to be a game condition. It's going to be a tough game condition up in Green Bay. That's good. Negative, Ghost Rider. No Christian Boyd. And real quick, the Packers inactive. Really, they're the 2 offensive player, wide receiver Malik Heath, offensive lineman Jacob Monk. I don't know if that's really this, that, or what, but interesting one is they're 4 defensive players. Quay Walker, starting linebacker, and a very good one, is inactive. Bullard and Williams, 2 of their safeties, who do see a lot of playing time, inactive, and starting corner Jair Alexander. That's kind of a big one. He's inactive. So they're going to be down a few defenders. We're down our most explosive offensive weapon with MVS that we thought we might have available. He's not. We're going to roll in with just 4 wide receivers in Austin, Wilson, Pettis, and Tipton. This is getting into one of those, it's just weird into the season NFL stuff going on where, you got a Monday night game, you got a potential playoff team, a probable playoff team in Green Bay against a team that was just eliminated yesterday. And, guys inactive, starters, potential, even if they aren't starters, potential, not potential, depth pieces that potentially could see a lot of plays coming in off the bench or in situational. So I don't know. It looks like, as near as I can tell, it's going to be obviously cold up there. It looks like they've got some wind coming out the north, so which will make it feel colder and probably play with punts and kicks and passes somewhat. But as far as I can tell, it doesn't look like any significant chance of wet weather. It is possible they may get some rain or snow or whatever, but it's not a lock that it's actually going to happen. So there is that. What are we looking for tonight? We've kind of talked about it the last couple of videos. I think it's more the same. It's just disappointing. Some of it isn't going to happen. You had an opportunity to play Boyd. You're not doing it. You have an opportunity to turn the offense over to Rattler and Kendre Miller. Let the young guys run the whole entire offense against a pretty good team who's missing a few defensive players, so might actually help them out a little bit. And it sounds like we're going to run it back by committee with Miller, Mims, and Jamal Williams, which I'm also not happy about. But to me, this is the one and only. If you're going to lean on Jamal Williams, like Rizzi hinted at in his press conference during the week, because he's He's been up there. He's played before. He played in the division. You give him a lot of touches, they better be productive. Otherwise, you know for a fact that's it for him. And it better be for the last two games. All Miller, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Mims. And let's see what we got in those three guys. I also want to say Rattler run the offense, and I want to say open it up for him. He looked really good in that 2-minute offense last week. So at times, we start moving the chains a little bit, pick up some first downs, start getting to the plus side of the field. Let's go a little hurry up or 2-minute or something quicker and see how he reacts to that. Just because he looked like he ran it effortlessly last week. I get it. The defense was a little soft at first, but he got down there and threw the touchdown pass. So let's try to build on that with him. Last thing, and I think this is a big one that everybody knew, that this was a tryout for Rizzi over the last 8 games. They were, talking about playoffs. We were trying to be optimistic, but I think for the most part, at least on this channel, we were fairly realistic in the fact that to have any shot, they're basically going to have to go 8-0, 7-1 might sneak them in depending on what happens. So when you took that second loss last week, you had to know, especially considering, although Tampa gets upset last night, but Tampa and Atlanta basically each needed to win a game to knock you out. And over the last 3 weeks of the season, they're going to have ample opportunities to do that, which they did. And it was Atlanta, the Dirty Birds, that got us. So I think all along they should have been preparing for this. I don't mind them playing to keep winning and try to sneak in the playoffs. That's fine. Especially since I've been saying the draft pick thing is going to take care of itself, because I honestly didn't believe it was really, truly going to happen. It's officially closed. You miss the opportunity to get Boyd some snaps. Okay. Foskey's nothing but a special teamer. To hell with that. Put him out on the edge. I don't care if he gets abused, beaten, burn up. Let's find out. Because if he can't hold his own, you're answering questions. Basically tell him, and I'm not saying start him and play him every snap, but I mean, find him some snaps. Find him 10, 12 throughout the course of this game. Put him out there. Basically telling him, you got to do something to force us to even consider keeping you around for next year. I don't care if you were a second-round pick last year. It's put up or shut up time. I want to see Jean-Charles. I want to see Rico Payton get some serious snaps on defense, whether it be in the corner, in the slot, whatever they're going to do. And again, I don't need him to start and play the whole game. But when opportunities arise where you can get some of those guys in there, I want to see what they can do. There's Orgy, because you don't know what's going to happen with Demario Davis next week. And they've been praising how good Anthony Orgy was. You got him back healthy. Get him out there for defensive snaps. I think it's the point of the season where you're at. I was going to say the same thing about wide receiver, but MVS being inactive, they have no choice. Let's see if Austin and Pettis can handle stepping up higher up in the role with MVS going. Let's see if Tipton can get involved at all. And he's probably your best playmaker. I think he's your fastest guy you're going to put on the field right now. See if you can't get him the ball and see if he can't catch it and do something with it. Let's find out. And I think that's what where we're at right now is pretty much a let's find out situation. The pretense is over. The playoffs are not a reality. Let's turn the page and get ready for the chore we're going to have in 2025 to start fixing a lot of issues. So, that's where we stand right now. Let me grab a sip of water. Let's see. I know Northern's batting lead off like normal with questions. Let me see what he's got for me. Merry Christmas to you, Northern. Present, I would say, an increase from 200 and a salary cap of 276 to a minimum of 286. If he could get up to 290, that'd be even better. But where we're not facing the mountain that we're facing in 2025, to shave it down so then we can get serious about fixing our roster. It would just be nice if it was high enough where, okay, we can work on fixing our roster and however that's going to work out. With that extra room, it would probably be enough where it wouldn't be the monumental task and we could truly go, okay, he's got to go, he's got to go, he's got to go. Doesn't matter how much money it's going to cost us to move on. Drew Brees, prime Drew Brees, because that solves one of our big problems right there. Like if you get 2006 Drew Brees showing up next year, we're kind of good for the next decade. But uh Kingsbury's an interesting one, especially if um it's a good question because it's not a complicated answer. It's a multi-layered answer, I guess. Because if you're looking to go the young quarterback route, he had some success with Kyler Murray developing him, not quite to the level that they wanted, and there was a tip between them that blew up. Then he gets Jane Daniels, and so far returns look pretty good on that one. That he can get these young quarterbacks to play and um, get an offense where they're comfortable and they can run the offense, and it's not a huge case of the rookies hitting them game after game after game. A lot like happened to Bryce Young last year, for example. So he's a very interesting one. He had some success with um, with Arizona till he didn't, and then that whole thing fell apart, and there was other stuff involved there. Um, Definitely an offensive mind. Definitely a guy you looks like you give him the pieces because Washington did a real good job at starting last year at the trade deadline, basically going what we should have done this year, going we ain't going anywhere. Let's unload whoever we can unload that people still want. Be ready to start cutting veterans, get under the cap. Now they had the benefit of a very high draft pick, and they knew they were going to get a really good chance of getting a young quarterback. So the layer on this is if that could potentially happen, and you do see a guy, nobody seems really excited yet about any of the young quarterbacks coming out. But even if you have to wait a year and you've got Kingsbury waiting to go, nothing in 2025. Let's just roll with Rattler or whatever we're going to do. But 2026, I kind of like these guys. So if he would be interested in coming here, um, I haven't heard anything like he's a high priority candidate or anything, but that could change. Um, I'd be very interested in him. I would probably. I think he checks a lot of boxes with the Saints would probably need from the new head coach and those of us because really and truly I'd like to get an offensive guy and rebuild this offense, but we don't know if that's going to happen. But if we could, I like him better than Brady, and I just don't think Ben Johnson's coming to New Orleans. So I think Kingsbury, very interesting thought on that. Green Bay. Um, it's a lot like last week, except we're on the road instead at home, so it's a little tougher going. Um, this stretch of playoff teams, Rams, Redskins, Green Bay, and even the Bucks, if they're still coming down to it at the end in week 18, all of them good chance to make the playoffs or legitimate chance to make the playoffs, and all of them we could hang with, so to speak, um, and have an opportunity to beat them if things go right, better coaching, better play, all the stuff we've been talking about that we didn't have through that 7-game losing streak stretch. So everything being equal, I would give us a chance tonight. Though I'm think that chance lessens a little bit on the road, weather conditions, Monday Night Football, Green Bay, still playing for a lot on the table. So, and once again, we're down a couple of guys. I think missing MVS is really, really gonna hurt, and losing Shepard may be painful. He hasn't been playing, it's sorta like Ridgeway. I don't know if either one of them's been playing exceptionally well this year, but they can kinda give you meaningful snaps. I don't know where the snaps are gonna come from. Um, Probably Ridgeway's gonna have to play more, and you may see one of the, Turner Jordan or passing out having to play more on the inside. That's a coin flip and a half. And I think a lot of it depends on the wind conditions also there. I looked at it right before, went to the weather app and looked, and they were saying a north wind from showing hourly about 7, 8, 9, 10 miles an hour. So I don't even know which direction that is, how much that affected. Um, so I don't know how much deep ball you're going to be able to have. Probably Tipton's best chance to break it open. So he's going to have to find probably a lot of intermediate routes, I'm guessing, but who knows? It may be clear enough and not as bad enough where he can throw deep, which case he's gonna have to get Tipton downfield. I like Austin Pettis, both of them at times. I think they can do some really good stuff. Wilson, I'm extremely disappointed in for a veteran receiver that he hasn't picked up more slack like he should have. So I'm gonna go with Austin out of that four, probably the best chance. And happy holidays to you. Although I'll be seeing you tomorrow night at your house for Christmas Eve party. Yeah, and you know, um, he's and I don't know what the mandate is for him. That came out of um, what the expectations are, because I can't believe they didn't have or have not had that conversation of you know, hey, what are you looking for me to prove that I'm the guy to remove that interim tag and make me the coach, the head coach. And so I'm quite sure you're right that influences some of his decisions, depending on what the answer is. But part of that answer should be, hey, let's see if you can get a read and develop. I mean, think about, let's use Foskey as an example. Um, wouldn't it be a feather in Riz's cap if, let's say, Foskey got 15 snaps at edge tonight and actually made some noteworthy plays, some pressure, God forbid a sack, but even if it's tackle, even if he does his assignment job, whatever it is on the particular plays he's in, and grades out better than he has been, because obviously he's a special teamer right now. He's not even getting defensive edge snaps for the most part. It seems like to me that'd be a feather in Rizzi and Woods and Young's caps to get that and say, well, okay, we gave him 12 snaps against Green Bay. Let's give him 20 against the Raiders, see what he can do with it. Oh, he's improving some more. Well, let's give him 30 or more against whatever. Um, so I think there has to be that component of it, and people have to recognize. And even if he would say, well, we're getting Foskey his 12 snaps, and all 12 of those snaps we give up big plays, it probably cause us to lose the game pretty big. At least Yeah. The flip side of that is it may be mandate coming down from the front office. They don't want to look bad by having Foskey exposed. Although I think at this point we all know what he is and isn't. So you know, but I think that's definitely that in the middle tweener kind of thing. He's trying to win, and he needs to install that culture. So I don't want to say you don't try to win. To make the point, you have to, because you don't want to bring that loser mentality back that seemed to be swirling around the team. Um, so there's a fine edge there. I would agree with that. But I'd like to see him strike a balance, and that's what I was saying. Is playing those young guys. I don't need to see him for a whole quarter or a half unless something happens that necessitates it. But I want to see them doing more than just special teams at this point in the season, especially where we're sitting. Yeah, we'll see. But Honestly, I don't know if you're gonna bring him back, I don't know why you wouldn't just stick with Rizzi at that point. I I think he gives you meaningful snaps, and he does it, and, this is a great grain of salt type situation. Let's have the PFF conversation as far as grades go, because I have no idea what he grades out at PFF. Um, but I think you're not, um, totally exposed with him on the field, which is, good. Don't get me wrong, and he could suck up some snaps for you. I think overall, it's probably a good time to talk about Brian Young. That switch, promoting Todd Grantham all the way to Oklahoma State's defensive coordinator, I think was a great move by Rizzi because one of the reasons why our defense got back under um, under control a little bit, and is the defensive line has started playing better, and Cam's attributed it directly to making that switch and playing for a guy who used to play in the league. And I think his comment was last week was, not don't worry about the X's and O's or the technique or whatever he's referring to. Just tell him, go play, go make plays. And seems to be a little more of that, a lot more work to do. But the pressure rate's been up. Finally, last week they started closing on some sacks, which surprised me. You get 8 against Jade Daniels because you can get to him, but he is very mobile and elusive. But and there were a couple of plays where we didn't get to him and we gave up a big run. So just kind of surprised in seeing that. I don't know if Love's quite capable of that. If we get close to him, you're going to have to get him on the ground if you want a shot to win this game. But even in the interior, we've been getting beat up so bad in the running game, but we were almost holding our own at least the last couple of weeks against the running backs. Still lose sight of those quarterbacks. Still think there's some scheme issues there. Excuse me. And I still think it's just some personnel issues where you just don't have dynamic and athletic guys on defense to be able to handle when those type players get out in space. It's not just quarterbacks, it's others. But the quarterbacks hurt you the most. So we play so much man. I think typically sometimes ball to some of our better guys who are capable of doing that are locked up with somebody with their back to them and they have no idea the quarterback's taking off till he's 10 yards downfield. Yeah. It's still a thorn in my side about the way that whole thing played out. And here's the kicker. Because Saints fans are probably as gun shy as I am about trying to draft because of those three and the fact that you let Hendrickson, who's maybe he's a day 2 or day 3 pick, third round, fourth round, somewhere in there, walk out the door and just light it up in Cincinnati. And he lit it up for you that last year, but you know, you did what you did for who you did it for. But it's very frustrating. This draft in that top, we are around 10 right now, and I think that's likely about where we're going to finish. May sneak up a couple spots, but I don't know if we'll drop very far. Um, and I'm kind of anticipating the only win we probably have left is the Raiders next week. Um, I think it's Carter for Penn State. I can't quite remember their names, but I started looking at the skirting for Texas A&M, a couple good edge rushers who are going to be up there and seem to be pretty good. The the Jalen Carter type defensive tackle from Michigan, and then they have a second one who's also very good, who may be like a second round. Those are guys that on paper would help us, but I'm gun shy of burning first and second round picks on guys like that because of the three names that you got written down there right now. So you know, and even drafting Brzee, say this carefully. I like Brian Brzee. I really, really do. And I think he's very good pass rusher on the interior. But I'm getting a little frustrated that his run defense is lagging so far behind. I'd like to tighten that up some. I think even he's been a little better since Brian Young took over. Again, going back to the PFF grades, I'm not sure what they're going to say on this, but just like you're doing, watching the game and going, they're not killing us like maybe they once were earlier in the season, or in Brazil's case, sometimes last season. So I don't know if I can spin my wheels and go down there if there isn't a quarterback worth taking, if we're picking 9, 10, 11, say. But some of the guys I just mentioned are sitting there. Seems to be some of the higher picks in the first half of the draft could come along the defensive line. It's definitely a need for us, especially on the interior. And money wise, there may be some guys that we're going to have to let walk out or something else happen just because of the cap situation we're in. So, I don't even know what to say on that one other than yeah, get your gun shot. I missed that part. I was mostly red zoning yesterday, and plus I was doing some other stuff, so I was kind of in and out. But I heard about that later. I did see. Oh my lord, Marshawn looked not good against AJ Brown from what I saw in that game, and I know he got hammered with some pass interference penalties. And the most amazing thing is Washington turns the ball over what 5 times and still manages to pull that game out. So um, that's one I'll probably have to look. I'm sure the NFL Network's going to show the whole entire replay. I'm going to have to record it and watch it from start to finish so I can watch all the plays. But um, yeah, that seemed to be probably the most exciting nail biting game yesterday, and they had a couple of those. Yeah, I saw on Twitter too. Rattler and Moreau, I think, was sporting at least earlier. I think when they were warming up or out on the field or something, were sleeveless. So I went, well, that's kind of a good sign that. And that was even before I looked up the weather report. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of a good sign that it's not like, the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field in a blizzard type situation. So um, that could have uglied the game up enough to keep us in, but I'm not so sure. And plus, I want to see conditions where, again, turn the keys of the offense over to Rattler and let's go let him take it out for a good hard spin. Let's see what we got. Yeah, that's kind of um, and I'm definitely not upset about being stuck with the 10th overall pick. I'm more upset there's not like 3 or 4 quarterbacks in this draft class worthy of taking. Um, Again, this could all change, but normally by this time you got a real good buzz on, who you think. You think about a year ago this time, um, it was always Nick's, Daniels, and Michael Penix. Um, JJ McCarthy all of a sudden coming down the stretch and especially in the playoffs got his name in the conversation, adding that. So you get to 4, then you're kind of at 5 and because Caleb Williams was always up there too. I should have mentioned him with the first 3. So there's plenty to go around, so to speak. And you'd be like, in our situation right now, if we were 10 last year with a shot at any of those, I'm going probably have to make that move. Um, with that not being that this year, that's where it gets muddlesome. But you never know. Like I said, they could walk in a combine, have pro days, all of a sudden they pick up steam, they turn some heads, some people go, okay, we weren't convinced before, but now we are. Yeah. So at 10, you figuring we need help. Defensive line, defensive interior, offensive line. I'm not totally sold on what we got going right now. And I know there's some tackles out there that may be on play. Uh, Wide receiver, possibly. So there's a couple spots there where you may go at 10, go, we get a pretty good player out of it. We just don't get, I think, our what we're looking for is the guy that's just going to come and take over the quarterback spot and go, he's our guy. Let's go. We're still looking for that. We're liable to still be looking for that come 2026, unless Rattler can get it together and say, hey, I'm the guy. Yeah. Yeah, and I think their play was if we're not getting a quarterback, we're gonna just do, they grab Bowers, which God, I wish he'd have fell one more. Because look, I love Taliesin Fuaga, but I don't love that Bowers. Um, they may just run that route again and go roll out O'Connell. I think Gardner Minshaw's done. They'll probably dredge up another, veteran backup type quarterback and throw him in there. They may go one more year and they may try to play for 2026. I think some Pierce and the GM are in real shaky ground right now. So they, this that's an interesting one. It really is what's going to go on there because I think it affects us. The more jobs that open up, I think it's worse for us, but not necessarily that Raiders job. Ah, thank you. I can plug it if you want. Set me up because that's where you can find it. Just drop these. Unfortunately, I was trying to get it for Christmas, but didn't quite work out that way. So um, we will our post Christmas special. Definitely go check these out. And there's the link to the merch store. So thank you for the chance to plug there, Northern. Appreciate that. Oh, wait. I need to pull that off. Something I didn't see the tweet or something, but I read somewhere there it's like Color Rush with new helmets or something. Um, which also always scare me when they do stuff like that. It's sort of like the University of Oregon with all their uniforms. Sometimes they roll out and you're like, "Phew, man, that's sweet." And sometimes they roll out with stuff and you're like, I can't even watch the game because it's hurting my eyes so bad. So I always get a little nervous, but I think you can screw up white. I think the Saints have always looked pretty good whenever they wear some version of their white uniform, even if it's the all whites or black and white or whatever. Yeah, you the like I said, it was a short sleeve report. So, and I think that was earlier when they were just kind of walking around the field when they first got there. Yeah, it's a good chance it's gonna be 1-9 and 0-3 tonight. But I honestly I can say and kind of are we getting? Yeah, we got a few more minutes. Um, can honestly say, what we've been talking about the last few weeks. If you show me the honest effort, if you show me the improvement, if you show me the fight, you show me we've stopped the backslide on our culture and trying to rebuild it, move forward. Um, I mean, I'm not saying I like losing that. Like I was in the dome losing that Washington game or watching TV losing the Rams game. I'm not saying I like it, but it doesn't kill me because I can see it for what it is. Because Rams are the prime example because we were in a very similar situation last year when we played the Rams, and they blew us the hell out of LA in a quarter of football. The first quarter game was effectively over. So I want to avoid that because that was too much happening, especially saw a lot of resurgence of that during that 7-game losing streak. Get rid of that. And I think because honestly, I knew our talent was shaky. We are going to have to coach them up before the season, but I thought we had enough bright spots that you might be able to pull it off. You didn't coach them up enough. You didn't have enough bright spots. But what would scare me about our talent is where it's good, it's kind of good, but it's just not enough of it. And even who's good, how good are they really? I think that's why talking about the offensive line, you know, with Pinnick and Fuaga and one of those top tackles is there at 10, you might have to think real hard about because he said Fuaga could probably play guard, and guard is a problem. And I don't think there's any real help in this draft on the interior for the most part. So I don't know. It's a question wrapped in an enigma, surrounded by mystery as far as that. But um, I just want to see the fight, and if they can pull this out, and if they can go to 2-8 and 1-2 on this season, I think that's good overall, even if it bumps you up to 11 in the draft pick. Um, I think whoever, um, I don't know. There's a tight end that's going to be up there that high. I don't think there's a Bowers type there. If you hold on to 10, now if you end up trading down somewhat, yeah, maybe. Um, I think the point here is you can't look at I'm an offensive coach. I need the best. You need the best player. That's where our talent level is down to at this point. There's almost no name me a position where the guy we currently have is going to be far better than somebody we could possibly draft. It's been a long time since, where you could say, "Oh, look, you know, we got to go get a receiver." Well, we have in the day of Michael Thomas before all the stuff happened. Oh, yeah, Michael Thomas. Is that guy really better? Eh, had Alvin drafting. That's a conversation I think you got to have at 10. I think the answer is there's going to be a whole lot of guys better than some of the guys we got on the roster. So then it's not who do we need most, which one of them is the best and is going to be here through their second contract, locking down a position that we don't have to worry about. As long as he's healthy, he's the guy. Nope. I drink. Yeah, I'm hesitant to say brand that can get a little sketchy sometimes on YouTube. Uh, it is a New Orleans brand. No, I drink New Orleans blend and with milk and honey in it generally. And I'm actually drinking water tonight just out of a coffee cup. Yeah, I don't really do the dress like Santa thing. I don't think I can pull it off. Yeah, I figure we're getting pretty close. And about the point to wrap it up. So, anyway, um, I want to see. I'd like to see it win. To be honest with you, I don't think winning this game hurts us that much. Now, like we wind up picking 11 or 12 and missing out on somebody by a pick. Then you're like, damn it, shouldn't have won that Green Bay game. But I think it's like we've been saying, put yourself in a position to try to win it. And if you get there, I think that's when the win helps you. When you finally go get one against a winning team, a playoff team, and you can kind of look around and go, okay, guys, we did it. We did something here. This is what we have to build on. And he keeps going back to what I'm saying about some of these other guys. But do you want to be a part of this? Because even the veterans that want to be here and want to keep playing hard, you don't know how much you're really going to have left on some of those guys. And some of these guys down here, they need to step up because you're not going to be able to. It's not impossible. It's going to be very difficult to lose veterans and not have any of the guys currently in your roster able to step up and give you something on an NFL level, even if it is like we were talking earlier about a Ridgeway type going, hey, he doesn't hurt you when he's in there and he's going to take about 30 snaps a game and he'll be okay. He'll hold his own. He may make some plays. He won't get beat too bad, but he's getting rest for the guys who are our top players when they need a blow or something happens or they got to go to the blue tent and, whatever. We don't even know some of our guys on the back of our roster if they can even do that. Because again, all they'll do is run out there and play a couple snaps on special teams. Batman. Oh, as in Gotham City Batman. Actually, I am more of a Marvel guy, but if I'm gonna go DC hardcore, yeah, absolutely, definitely Batman. Uh, he's kind of the coolest of all. I always thought so. So I think we got kickoff or roughly so in about 5 minutes, and move to wind this one down just a tad. Hey, y'all, for popping in here. So yeah, it turns out tonight. Interested to see. We'll have a little more on the results. Not the results. I guess the ramification of the results um, during the week. I don't think we're going to be live Thursday. It's just a lot going on with Christmas being the day before and all. Um, Maybe I can squeeze it in Friday. We'll see. Don't really know, but I will definitely Sunday night when we go back to playing on Sunday, we'll have the normal post game show. So hit the like, share, subscribe, notifications. That way you'll know if we can squeeze a live one in there. But I'm anticipating it won't happen until Sunday night. And then once we get through New Year's, we should be back on our regularly scheduled program. So I definitely won't be seeing y'all before Christmas. So happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas. Hope everybody, you and your family are doing well and stay safe. Hopefully, Christmas present for us is we get a favorable outcome tonight. That favorable in the sense whatever is best for the organization and the team. That is the outcome we get. I'll let you fill in what you think it may or may not be, but that would be the biggest Christmas present to all of us, knowing 24, 23, 22, 21. That's now 4 years in a row we're not making the playoffs. Good chance it's going to be 5, but let's start building something now that maybe we can get the turnaround we need in 2025, and we won't have to go half a decade without making the playoffs. That's my Christmas wish this year as far as the New Orleans Saints are. So, like I said, if you enjoyed it, please hit the subscribe, give me a thumbs up, stroke that algorithm, make the YouTube all the YouTube algorithms happy. And we will definitely, like I said, see you Sunday night live. Probably not before that, but until the next time I see you, I'm Tim. Peace out and who dat.